Excuse me, but have you heard about Murder, She Wrote? It's just one of the finest shows ever created, starring Angela Lansbury as Jessica Fletcher, a mystery novelist turned amateur sleuth who lives in the fictional murder capital of the world, Cabot Cove. If you are in the 30-something age group and had grandparents, then you are no doubt familiar with this series. It seems like everyone's grandma loved this show, and that excitement leaked onto and contaminated everyone in my generation. But how can one resist? This show was pretty unique for the time. A widowed woman in her 60s leading a successful life, writing about murder and solving horrific crimes. For the most part, crime shows typically had a male lead, especially the more hard-boiled ones, so this was refreshing for a lot of people. Though one can't be sure that Jessica Fletcher wasn't the main killer, and I'm pretty sure more murders happened in Cabot Cove than the city's actual population, but I'm sure it's circumstantial. If you haven't gathered, I am a huge Murder, She Wrote fan. Here's a picture of me and my gazillion DVDs, all 12 seasons, 264 episodes. Isn't it a beautiful sight? I am nothing if not consistent. The episodes are fairly formulaic. A murder happens, Jessica happens to be involved somehow, the authorities can't seem to get their shit together, and Jessica ends up solving the entire case by finding some obscure piece of evidence that wasn't even mentioned until the end of the episode. I have no idea how this worked 264 times, but I can't get enough of it. Of course, seeing as though there are this many episodes, not all of them can be a winner. Such is the case with Something Borrowed, Someone Blue, a completely wacky, ridiculous, off-the-rails episode that aired in 1989. I have no idea what happened with this. It was written and directed by people who had already worked on this series, but it's so fucking weird. I don't know if they were trying something new or what. The characters are bizarre and overly animated for the tone of the episode, there are plot points that go absolutely nowhere, and it almost too closely resembles the movie Clue. We'll get to that soon. The story follows Jessica's nephew Grady, who is about to be married to his partner, Donna. Grady is a different subject altogether, by the way. I could do an entire video on the failed relationships of Grady Fletcher. The wedding is taking place at Donna's parents' house in Fishkill, New York, and yes, that is a real place, I looked it up. Jessica flies in to attend the rehearsal and the wedding to follow. The bride and groom are already getting along so well.
Grady, you did want me to keep working after all.
Yeah, no. Really.
But why didn't you say something? I mean,
Donna, I'm fine. Really, honest.
Really?
Oh, you too. Jessica, being a very cool aunt, allows them to open her gift early. Spoilers, it's a very shitty and useless hand mirror.
This is the mirror your mom gave you when you got married.
Yes, Grady, it will come in handy when you're in the desert and you come across Medusa. You'll know when the time is right. Hello everyone, Pushing Up Roses here. This is a reference to 1986 Sierra adventure game King's Quest III: To Err is Human. I made this joke thinking people would understand the reference, but now realize that it may in fact not land. Thank you. Carry on. There seems to be some issues between Grady and Donna's parents, particularly with their controlling behavior and attitudes about where they should live and what kind of job Grady should pursue after the wedding.
If you had a client who had more than 100,000 income in H-7...
Daddy, you promised. No quizzes?
This causes some tension between the two lovebirds, but whatever, who cares? Let's meet some kooky characters. The whole family is here, and my god, they are weird. First, we have Donna's parents, Franklin and Maisie. Franklin is uptight and speaks in exaggerated tones, and Maisie is giving me some serious Tammy Faye Mesner vibes.
Exactly.
During dinner, we also meet creepy Uncle Ben. That was almost a wink. Will you butter my roll? I know that murder mysteries tend to put in a lot of suspicious characters to throw you off, but this one is just skeezy and makes ridiculous advances at Jessica.
I gotta get ice for my drink. I need to cool off my hot blood.
What the fuck is that? We also have the housekeeper, Harriet, who is just one big old container of salt.
You sharpen any pencils in my house, you do it over a wastebasket, you understand?
This is one of the many scenes that reminds me so much of the movie Clue. I couldn't even focus on the argument happening because all I could think about was, oh geez, I really need to show a side-by-side comparison of this for my video. I digress though, all of these characters are so eccentric. It's like they were rehearsing for a musical or a stage show because their acting is so amplified. I kept forgetting that this was supposed to be a murder mystery.
It's the end of the world, that's all, the end of the world. And what are you doing, Franklin? Sitting here smoking with Jessica.
Calm down, Maisie, before another gray cell hits the bug light.
More guests show up after dinner, Uncle Ziggy, who seems to be doing his best John Denver impersonation, and Valerie, his new southern bride. Harriet sees Valerie and gives her a look, like dagger eyes. Meanwhile, Uncle Ben is up to no good and knocks on Jessica's door late into the night for a booty call.
You look ravishing.
Ben, you look tired.
You look like shit. In another moment of misdirection, we see Harriet get into a needlessly aggressive argument with the caterer who wants to use the kitchen to make the wedding's food.
You were supposed to deliver that food prepared.
Listen, Flapjaw, I could get a pile of business out of this shindig, and I am not gonna serve raw pork balls.
Everyone is so hostile to each other, even these two, and they hadn't met prior to this event.
Why you have to be mad?
Jessica makes an attempt to talk to Franklin about his overbearing manner towards Grady and Donna, even though this plot point is really bad, and the conversation goes absolutely nowhere.
Laugh, huh?
Just as I love my husband, and I dare say that you love your wife.
Now look, no offense.
But I hate my wife. So anyway, the cook is dead. You know what they say, you cannot make an omelet without breaking some eggs. Every cook will tell you that.
But look what happened to the cook!
Because she is so conspicuously hidden behind this bush, no one suspects any foul play, and people start discussing her possible whereabouts. The entire family gets into a tizzy and starts spewing all of their opinions, while Jessica just calmly stands there thinking, well, fuck my life. In another weird plot point that goes nowhere, a new character named Clara is introduced. She shows up at the wedding claiming to be someone's cousin, though nobody seems acquainted with her. She's a wedding crasher.
How has the food been? Oh, excellent. Really delicious. Good. Do you know when they're going to start serving it?
It's funny because she's hungry, I guess. While that's happening, Grady books it to Donna's room to talk to her about her parents.
My God, no!
What the fuck? Holy shit! I've never seen someone react so strongly to catching someone wandering around a door.
My God, no!
Apparently Maisie just wanted to stop Grady from seeing Donna before the wedding proper, who is busy getting dressed.
No more ice cream for the rest of my life.
You're kidding me, right? Who wrote that line? I want to have a word with you. Grady figures out how to open a window and sneaks off to talk to Donna about their future, and finally seems to grow a spine, telling her that he wants to find his own job, sans help from her father. You'd think that these things would be discussed way before the wedding and not literally hours before, but here we are. The guests start pouring in, and Grady has a slight existential crisis, telling Jessica that Donna would be better off with her ex, Wilfred. And oh yes, we'll get to see Wilfred soon, because for whatever reason, he got invited to the wedding. So we're halfway into this episode, and no one has found Harriet yet, so we gotta get on that. And let me tell you, this is the most ridiculous discovery of a body I think I've ever seen. I'm not gonna say anything, I'm just going to let this play. What in the hell was that sound effect? What was that? This doesn't happen just once. Oh no, it happens twice within a 30-second time span.
Daddy?
What is it?
Of course, the fuzz is brought in immediately, but like all good episodes of Murder, She Wrote, the detective on the case has absolutely no idea what he's doing, so Jessica has to come in and take over. This happens every time.
Chief Slocum, I'm sure you noticed that Harriet seems to be clutching a piece of wrapping paper in her hand, and it looks to me like a piece that I saw on a gift in the foyer.
Gift?
The body cannot be moved until the crime photographer gets there, but he's been delayed, so Jessica comes up with a plan. You know who's just as good? The wedding photographer! This'll be great for the wedding album.
I want all the angles. Top, bottom, sideways.
Yes, I know what I'm doing. It's not like she's gonna want to buy any copies or anything.
Is no one sad about this? The detective thinks it's a professional job, but Jessica knows better and tries to guide him through the case.
Now, it seems to me that that piece of wrapping paper in Harriet's hand could have been an afterthought to make her murder look more like a burglary.
Oh, shoot.
So because the killer is still likely at the wedding, it will need to be delayed. Jessica and Chief Slocum relocate to the kitchen where they discuss why the murderer chose a meat thermometer. Meanwhile, Donna ends up being the one with enough gumption to approach her father and tell him that they don't need assistance. And then Wilfred shows up. This guy, this fucking guy, he was the king of camp way before Paul Rudd.
From Pop's drugstore? Always was your favorite, remember?
Sir, that is a cheap Whitman sampler by Russell Stover. You cannot fool me. Don't worry, this also goes nowhere. And I'm not sure why this character was even included, to showcase Grady's ever-growing list of insecurities. Speaking of inconsequential characters, we better check on the wedding crasher, whom everyone is now suspicious of. Jessica sits down with her and catches her in a lie, and things start to get a little sentimental. She explains that she's lonely and just likes to go to a party every now and then, but then it just nosedives right back into wacky comic relief.
It's, not much fun being alone, you know.
No, it isn't.
Do you know when they're going to start serving the food?
Even though the wedding is still delayed, Donna continues to get ready with the help of her mother when she finds Harriet's body in her bathroom.
It's Harriet. She's in my bathroom.
Well, finally, we've been looking all over for her.
This is hands down the best expression I've ever seen anyone make ever. They haphazardly move Harriet's body into someone else's room. Perfect. Nailed it. No one will ever notice. Just kidding. Of course someone noticed. Look at how they hid her. And once again, this entire scene is so much like Clue. It just can't be a coincidence, right? The moving body, this scream followed by the other characters scrambling upstairs to a bouncy little tune. This has to be on purpose. Everything is going so poorly that Donna and Grady consider eloping, which is the most logical thing I've heard anyone say. I can't imagine getting married on the same day I found a corpse in my bed. I mean, maybe if I found it under the floorboards, that would be cooler, but in the bed? That's just tacky. After a lot of weird shenanigans, nobody has figured out who the murderer is. Even Jessica is stumped until she talks to Donna about something that happened off-screen. Turns out Harriet had recognized Valerie from a previous housekeeping job and had dirt on her, but the viewer would never know that because this reveal happened minutes before the episode ended.
Donna, are you saying that Harriet called Valerie Mrs. Parker?
Oh yes, just this morning in the kitchen.
I love Murder, She Wrote, but a lot of the episodes are structured like this. You can follow along as much as you want and make some educated guesses, but the conclusion is always based on some obscure evidence that only shows up near the end of the case.
The housekeeper might have threatened to blackmail or expose you. You stabbed her in the kitchen, then planted that wrapping paper in her hand when you moved the body.
Since the murder is now solved, the wedding is saved! Yay! As you can imagine, everyone is quite frazzled. Grady especially looks unsure of the situation. His face says no, but Cousin Clara says yes. Let's recap. Donna and Grady are getting married, the housekeeper gets murdered with a meat thermometer, Donna's ex shows up and he looks ridiculous, Uncle Ben is creepy as shit, some kids find the corpse, the body gets moved twice, everyone is on the verge of a mental breakdown, and Cousin Clara is super hungry. I love Murder, She Wrote. It is one of my favorite shows and I could marathon the episodes all day, but wow, this really kills the cook. If that wasn't already an existing phrase, it is now. It's like someone saw an episode of The Monkees and thought, you know what? That could work for Murder, She Wrote. Throw in some weird freeze frames and goofy sound effects. Cut, print, nailed it. The filler is just excessive too. I have no idea what the writer was thinking, but I somehow still love it because it's so odd. I can't say it's a good episode, but it is something.
My God, no!
In fact, I don't want to deter people from seeing this. Please go seek it out. I need you all to see this abomination. And I, of course, love talking about all things Murder, She Wrote, so if you have a favorite episode or one that you want to see me cover, please drop me a comment.
I need to cool off my hot blood.
What a skis. Hey everyone, thank you for watching my episode review on Murder, She Wrote. If you like this video, please consider lightly jabbing the thumbs up button, and if you want to see more impassioned hot takes about Murder, She Wrote, check out my social media links in the description. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one.